Feel it. Feel the joy. Feel the energy, the life force that's running through you. Be alive. Stop going through life from one thing to another, to another, to another, and not being present. And yes, by being present, emotions may come up. Good for you. Good for you. That's what you're here to do. Experience, to feel, to be in joy, to recognize when there's a contrast of something that you're no longer loving. Good for you. Well, welcome to Intuition, Your Success Compass. I'm Vicki Baird, your host and wisdom-led mindset coach. This podcast is where intuition meets strategy and mindset meets meaning. I help smart, successful women stop overthinking and start trusting their inner wisdom. Because your clarity, confidence, and next level life are already within you. With over 2 decades of coaching experience, a knack for systems, and a great gift for spotting what's off, be it a saboteur thought or an out of alignment choice, I'm here to help you connect your brilliant brain with your soul's knowing. You'll get grounded insights, a little humor, and real life tools to create change that actually sticks. Like your go-to morning brew, familiar, grounding, and the nudge you didn't know you needed. And I love coffee, so that works too. Welcome to Intuition, Your Success Compass. I almost said Intuition, Your First Sense, which was the original name of this podcast 4 years ago now, 5 years ago. I'm not even sure. And primarily so because I fully believe that if we live with our intuitive selves and combine that with our beautiful, beautiful human brain, that life is just that much more fun. And I have had a recent experience that I wanted to share that's taught me a little bit more about enjoying life, listening to our psychic senses, our intuitive senses, and then also being willing to pay attention to the inspiration that's around us. So recently, we had to say goodbye to our cat, Ubsy. She came to us 5 years ago from a rescue. We don't know how old she was. My senses say that she was likely 15, 16, somewhere in there. And she had had a pretty expansive life before us. She was in the shelter that we like to go to especially Mike liked to go to get his cats. And she had been in a house fire previously and returned. She went through an experience where someone adopted her and then that person passed and she ended up back at the same rescue for the 3rd time and then with us. And that's where she's had been for the last 5 years. And the reason I want to honor her specifically, but all animals in our lives and all experiences that are present for us to pay attention and to receive some knowledge, some lessons, some fun, some joy. She got her name because when she came to she was Chubsy. She was very chubby. And Mike is very good at nicknames for people and whether you want them or not, and for animals. And he just kept calling her Chubsy. And I said, you can't do that. We're not going to fat shame a cat that's not responsible for what people were feeding her. But then we just could not come up with a name. And I said, she's so unique. He was calling her Chubsy Ubsy. And I said, let's just go with Ubsy. It's unique. It's her. She's calico. And she was feisty, unapologetically herself, deeply loved. And I will admit, the girl and I had some moments. She was absolutely, I believe, what the word caterwauling was named for maybe in her previous lifetimes, because that girl could sing at the top of her lungs, and usually at 6:30 in the morning. And if you can hear him behind us, that's Sherman, our other kitty, who I'm cat sitting this week, and he wants to go in and meet the other cat, and we're not doing that. So Ubsy, I am just surrounded with these personalities. I realized that she wasn't just a cat. None of our animals are just a dog, just a cat, just an iguana. They're a soul connection. They are, I believe, with us for their growth, their expansion, of course, and for ours. And Ubsy was a masterclass in living fully. And I knew this while she was here in the physical, but it really brought home to me the message of her living and how she lived a couple days later when I was just feeling really sad about it. So she had had years of urinary issues that we managed quite well as a thyroid problem, as well as massive arthritis. So we were at the vet a lot. And I want to talk about how, and I will talk about where the inspiration that we have around us, if we just open up our eyes, and it doesn't always have to be a mountaintop moment or a Pinterest quote, although I'd love it if you were over there following my Pinterest boards. It's in the quiet. It's in loving them, even though they're making tons of noise when you decide to record your podcast. It's the Zoomies. We can find inspiration in a grocery line. We can have it be available to us looking out at nature and just embracing the fact that we get to live this life instead of lamenting of the fact that we're living this life. So Ubsy, even though she had pretty significant arthritis in her back end, she did Zoomies like no other cat did Zoomies. This cat walks so loud. She walked so loud that you would think that it was a dog upstairs or a human. She didn't care when she was doing those Zoomies. You better get the heck out of her way. And she was going to make her rounds. And especially after she had her monthly shot for her arthritis, she was quite frisky the next couple days, which I love that we could do that for her. And she didn't ask permission to take up space. She just did. This cat, a couple times, would be on the back of the couch, and I'd be reading or felting or, just watching TV. And she would just lean over and bite my head for no apparent reason. And then I thought, wow, is she picking up on the energy that I'm giving off? And at that time, was I worrying about something? And she was saying, cut the crap, Vic. This is not necessary. But she just did it. And it was in such a way, you can tell from my laughing, that you just couldn't be mad because who does that? Well, Ubsy did that. She didn't ask anyone's permission to be who she was. She was fully herself every moment of her life. That girl could snore. Oh my goodness. We used to say, well, it must have been the house fire, but honestly, she was just, maybe she needed a little baby CPAP. She did not perform to be like, she just lived. And I know a lot of cats are like this. I've had, can't even count them in my lifetime. So I recognize that. But every once in a while, there's a soul in your life that just brings more to you. And you could be grateful for that. And if you're not a pet owner, lover, that's fine. That's fine. It's available anywhere. She just happens to be my current experience. And are so many of us trying to figure out how to be who we are, live our lives, less of who we were, more of who we are right now, and believe in ourselves. And I think if you can take inspiration and teaching from a eventually 12-pound calico cat, I hope to share that. If we're willing to look anywhere, everywhere, everything, every being, every moment has a frequency, it has a message, it has wisdom in it. And because everything truly is consciousness, we have the capability to connect with that. Because everything can be a moment for learning. I do not believe that everything is a lesson for us to learn. Sometimes it's a lesson for the other person. Sometimes it just is. Sometimes a frog's a frog. But we have the opportunity to learn from everything without making it too big. Don't make every moment this existential thing. I have a client that I often have to remind her, no, no, that is not a message. That is not spirit. You just need to switch your laundry over after you wash it before it gets sour. Like there's no message here. It just is. Just do it. Set alarm. Don't walk away from the washer. Stay right there, read a book while it's washing so that you can pop it over into the dryer. But we do have the opportunity to learn. That's why we're here. Our soul wants to continue learning and expanding. And our human self says, cool, I'll be the vessel for that. But there's many times that we overlook the magic in the mundane. Our saboteurs will say, that's not important. That moment doesn't count, especially if someone doesn't see it. Like if you don't post it on social media or talk about it later so that you get credit for it. Our saboteurs are relentless in trying to keep us not just humble, but down. And it's important that we start looking for the magic, and life can be challenging enough without weighing ourselves down with just sadness and depression. And I'm not talking about clinical, but the process of living has a lot of moving parts. But if you're looking for the magic in the moving parts, yeah, in the moving parts, but also in everyday life, it will be there, and your brain will eventually look for more and more and more and more of it. And sometimes people will say to me, well, I don't have your positive outlook. Well, this didn't start this way. My brain did not. Well, it started it that way, but then it got programmed. And then I put the work in to actually have my auto responder be, okay, what's the upside of this? What's the sage perspective? What's the learning that we can do from this? It's not a denial that things are going on. It's more of a reality, actually, and being willing to see every moving part, but knowing, absolutely knowing with every cell that's in my body that this doesn't have to suck. Life does not have to suck. And we have the capability, every one of us, for as much suckness that's going on in our brain, there can be as much joy and more so, because eventually there's some peace and calming that comes from, ooh, that's a good oil too, that comes from being willing to see the moments that are hysterical, that are funny. Like we did a garden this year, and I have never seen anything that was cuter in the vegetable world anyway, in my experience, than a little baby butternut squash. That just tickled me. I love the fact that I got to watch it be a flower, and then it became this little itty bitty squash. And then eventually, actually, I'm going to pick them tonight, my delicious dinner. So our brain has the capability to look for those things. And I just feel like Ubsy was the best experience of that, because even though some would say that she was a little cranky, she didn't necessarily love the other cats we have, she tolerated anybody in this house. She loves Mike. Love Mike. But that was her joy. Like dinner time was her joy. And that's actually how I knew it was time, because she didn't want to eat. And that girl loved to eat. She would sit next, if I took, say I was eating my lunch or something on the couch, she would come up to me and put her paw towards my plate. I'm not going to let a cat touch my plate. She would put her her paw there and pull my hand away so that she could get to my food. And I was like, girl, you know how to go for what you want. You do not care that I'm sitting here holding a boundary. You're going to get whatever it was. And I've never seen a cat that liked vegetables as much as she did, but which is helpful, living in a house that's plant-based. Comes in handy. So joy lives in those micro movements. It lives in the unexpected. It lives in the baby butternut squash. It lives in the quiet moments when you realize, "Oh, I really have taken care of my brain so much that it can be quiet and it can look out and wonder about, how the flower becomes the flower. Or how did that flower get there? Bird, squirrel? Moments like that actually we are here to experience and to not get caught up so much in what other people are doing or the minutia. So I'd like to ask a question and a request of you. If you're driving, don't worry about it. You can do it later maybe. But could you look around you right now? Pick something simple that you can be present with. Maybe you're holding a cup of coffee that you just warmed up for the fourth time today. Hello, ADD. Can you be present with that temperature? Is there a texture that you can feel right now? Do you see something that calls your attention? Like right now, I'm looking out my office window, and thankfully, we got some rain in the last couple days, and my driveway is exactly split in half between the damp side and the side that's dried off. And as I looked out there, I was like, huh, that's pretty cool that it's split right in half. So, can you pay attention to that? Perhaps a sound that's so far away that you have to work a little bit to hear it. What can that teach you? What message is there that you could take from this moment of presence? Can you appreciate that you've taken this moment of presence? This is what our brains and our bodies need more of. We need more non-movement, quiet, stare off into space, front porch living. Recognizing that there's so much beauty, there's so much joy, there's so much humor around us. But if we don't pause, we're going to be caught up in the stress and the gossip and the fear mongering and the sabotaging that our brains do because they're trying to protect us or keep us safe. When I was driving and I was feeling this moment of appreciation for Ubsy, and I thought, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to share this. What I did was I said, I'm going to live the Ubsy way. I won't bite anybody. Don't worry about that. But I'm going to live in honor of this cat that I didn't choose, but came in my life. And I want to live this next part of my life like she did. Unapologetically zooming around in life, taking a nap. I'm not really good at naps, so that might be a stretch, but resting, pausing, appreciating, being playful, being fully alive, and then powering down to restore so they could be fully alive again. And she loved sitting in a window and smelling the outside air. We don't let our cats go out. But we make sure that they have ample spaces that they can feel like they're outside. Yes, I have a catio in the works, but didn't get it built for her. That's okay. I committed to her and her memory and her inspiration that I will do that. I will take this next level of quieting my saboteurs to say, this is who I am. This is what I like in life. And I can enjoy that in my solitude, and I can enjoy that in company of others. No more limiting who I am because it might bug somebody around me, or changing when I feel like doing Zoomies because maybe that's not appropriate for, how old am I? 56-year-old women. I don't care anymore. I do not care. Ooh, have you seen the I do not care movement? There's a lot of fun stuff going on with there. And I truly believe that we can not care and still be kind. We can not care what someone else might think of it and still be in charge of our delivery or how we act. So Ubsy wasn't trying to be inspiring. She had no intention of that. I actually believe her soul was here to learn how to receive love, because it took a little bit for her to realize that we were here for her. No matter what was going on, we were going to support her. And yes, she was going to get brushed because that girl could get mad. But she wasn't trying to be inspiring. She was living her life. And that's what made her so inspiring. She was joy. When you'd open up the door, our cat was more canine than our first canine. She would jump and run to meet you at the door and tell you all about her day, and probably tattle a little bit on her brothers, who don't do anything wrong, but, she was that sister. So what if we'd stopped trying to be something or someone and just let ourselves be? Let ourselves be the consciousness that we are. Let ourselves be love. Let ourselves be joy. And what if we look to what's right in front of us instead of constantly scrolling for that thing out there that's going to make me happy, or I'll be happy when, or I just have to reach this level and then I'll be happy? No, right here, right now. What's right in front of you? And in the week that she passed, 2 friends of mine had their close friends pass. And it just brought back to mind that we spend a lot of time rushing around and getting to the next thing and thinking that that's where the joy is, when the joy is right in freaking front of us. So what is right in front of you right now that has a moment of joy? Start training your brain so that it can meet up with the soul. Because the soul is here to laugh, to play, to learn, to experience, to grow, to be challenged, but to do it in a way that knows that none of this is all that serious. This is the Zoomy place. And let's make it the Zoomy place. So what if you asked yourself, where am I being nudged towards presence? Maybe it's this podcast. I'm asking you to be present. I'm asking you to put down the phone, to stare off into space, to go for a walk without headphones, to listen to the sounds that might be there, to train your brain in a way that actually works for you. And by asking, well, what's trying to get my attention? Because your soul, your spirit, your guides, the angels, they'll try to get your attention, but how the heck are you supposed to pay attention if you don't pause and have moments of quiet so that that can come in? So is there someone or something in your life right now that may be a messenger, that may be a teacher in disguise, that may be that next expansion place for you? Is there something there that's tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, cutie, can I have your attention for a moment? You don't have to wait for a huge life shift to be inspired. Don't wait for that. Be inspired by the small moments, because they're all small moments that add up to, impactful ones or larger ones or big old blow ups that happen in your life. But I promise you, the small steps were there first. Our soul speaks to us in whispers. This one spoke to me in whiskers. I do love a good pun. It speaks to us in the pattern on the driveway, in puddles, in a full body stretch after a nap, like cats do. Ooh, that arching, that cat, and then do the cow, and then arch up again. There's just so much that we can learn from those that we think are less evolved, that I truly believe are more evolved, because they have learned to be present for the love, for the pets, for the snacks, for the treats. Our cats didn't get treats, but they did. It was just their food. Don't tell them, okay? I'd rather they not know that. Ubsy reminded me that we are all allowed to take up our space, to have our Zoomies, and not make or feel like everyone has to be comfortable in that process. They don't. And maybe they're uncomfortable because they're not doing their Zoomies. Maybe it has nothing to do with you. Here's a hint. It rarely has anything to do with us. But maybe the message that you can feel inspired by Chubsy Ubsy is that you are beautiful in all your colors and all your squishy belly and your appreciation of a good windowsill and the life that's happening outside of it. I'm going to invite you to notice one thing today, just one, micro movements, just one, that makes you pause and feel something. Feel it. Feel the joy. Feel the energy, the life force that's running through you. Be alive. Stop going through life from one thing to another, to another, to another, and not being present. And yes, by being present, emotions may come up. Good for you. Good for you. That's what you're here to do. Experience, to feel, to be in joy, to recognize when there's a contrast of something that you're no longer loving. Good for you. Don't bite anybody on the head. It's not okay. We're not going to take inspiration from her in that way. I appreciate you listening and allowing me to honor our girl and to be in the space of paying attention and being present, making eye contact with that stranger, acknowledging that not everything sucks in this life. It's actually pretty amazing, but we have to be courageous enough to see the joy in it and to be the joy in it and to let go of what's not working and to really align with what is. Do the work. I promise you it's worth it. If you need help, you know where to find me. Vicki Baird Coaching, Vicki@VickiBaird.com. Any place, just reach out. And do me a favor. If something in this episode sparks something in you, tag me, connect with me, let me know so that I can celebrate with you, because from the joy comes great celebration. And it really is possible for us to live in this space and recognize that, yes, life is going to happen. And that's beautiful too. I'd love to celebrate with you and to be part of the joy in your life. So thank you so much. And I will see you in the next episode. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. If it sparks something, pass it on. And when you're ready to go deeper, just a click away at VickiBaird.com. Trust your gut, quiet the noise. You've got this.